Raider Nation, what's going on? The NFL trade deadline is tomorrow, October 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So if y'all are watching this video, I want you to name a player the Oakland Raiders should trade for, and today's show is about 10 defensive players that the Oakland Raiders should target in a trade. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, name a player the Raiders should trade for. Nicky Bonds, drop that beat.
That's that autumn wind. Shout out to the Raiders, man, we about to win.
The reason why I'm doing 10 players on defense the Raiders need to trade for is because of this. I actually think the Raiders' offense has been playing, well, pretty solid. And I need to see an improvement in this Paul Guenther defense. So points allowed, 28th in the NFL. Pass yards per game, 22nd in the NFL. Total yards, 25th. But the plays of 20-plus yards, they need to stop. They are absolutely killing this defense. But we can make an improvement over these next 5 weeks. The Oakland Raiders are 3-4 right now, and I am still a believer that this team has a realistic shot at making the playoffs. Versus the Lions, that should be a win. Chargers should be a win. Bengals, Jets, that should be 4 straight wins, putting the Raiders in a good position, then going up against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, Week 13. Now, I love Raider Nation. Y'all are my second family, and I want to get the channel to 35K subscribers by December. I'm going to Raiders-Lions next week, but I really want to go to Raiders versus Jags. And if I can get to 35K subscribers, I can go to Raiders versus Jags, then we can hang out. And if you're a loyal subscriber at youtube.com/RaidersReport, you see me at the game, first round's on me. Let's get in now to my top 10 players for the Oakland Raiders that they should target. Preston Brown. Now, the reason why I like Preston Brown is because he's going to know the Paul Guenther system, and we kind of need a player coach. Plus, the dude turned 28 yesterday, so a happy late birthday, my man. And what better would be a birthday present than getting out of Cincinnati, because that team is atrocious. Now, here are his last 4 seasons. Now, he's not a player of Vontaze Burfict's caliber. That's not what I'm saying. But if we could get a player who knows the system at the middle linebacker position, right now we need depth at the middle linebacker. Preston Brown could fill in, and the Bengals, well, they should be selling their assets, right? But it's also the Bengals. Let's go to number 9 on my list. It's Ryan Kerrigan. Now, he is going to be a little bit more of an edge rusher, but if you've watched the show, you'll know that there's a lot of rumors around Jay Gruden, former head coach of the Washington Redskins, potentially joining the Raiders next year. I kind of think maybe Jay's kind of nudging his brother John a little bit and saying, hey, man, go out and get Kerrigan, who is a Gruden grinder. Now, Kerrigan this year hasn't had the best numbers, but he's still at least getting after the quarterback. And right now, the biggest need, I'll still say, in the Raiders defense is an edge rusher. We need to be able to get after the quarterback. Sure, we're giving up big plays because our young cornerbacks, well, they have to cover players for so long. Go out and get a player like Ryan Kerrigan. So I put this on our channel the other day, and I was interested to see what y'all had to say. The Raiders Report is the most interactive YouTube channel, and I need the nation's voice to be heard. So what's the Raiders' biggest need? Y'all voted cornerback a week ago. Is that still what you're going to go with? I want you to comment below. Linebacker, defensive end, cornerback, or if you think it's another position, throw it in the comments section. Number 8 on my list is the Jackrabbit, Janoris Jenkins. Cornerback still continues to be a need for the Raiders. Now, I was impressed actually with Daryl Worley. He had a tough test this past week against DeAndre Hopkins. And also, I thought Trayvon Mullen played well. Now, Janoris Jenkins is not a shutdown cornerback anymore, but I do think he's above average. That's also what I tell people on my dating sites. But he does carry a heavy cap hit next year, but I still think Janoris Jenkins is a player you could see the Raiders target in a trade. Number 7, another New York Giant. It's Alec Ogletree. So I put him in a video last week, and then earlier today, a report came out that the Giants are shopping Alec Ogletree. The only thing with the Giants is, man, I have no idea what this team is going to do. Dave Gettleman just is an absolute head-scratcher to me. Now, you're going to see what Alec Ogletree can bring on the field in terms of stats, but the Giants just went out and traded for Leonard Williams, a team that probably should be in full sale mode, yet they go out and try to get Leonard Williams for a 3rd and a 5th. My question is, if all it took was a 3rd and a 5th, I'm a little bit concerned why the Oakland Raiders didn't at least offer a 3rd and a 5th. So the Raiders right now, we're sitting at 3-4, and I'm actually not in full panic mode. We should have beat the Houston Texans this past week, and I still believe that the Raiders are a legit playoff caliber team. But I want everyone who's watching this video right now to predict the Raiders record. And if you guys see above, comment please. It's because my mother goes, Mitch, You tell people to comment. You tell people to do it. Do this, but you never say please. So, Mom, I love you. Comment Raider Nation for my mother. Predict the Raiders record. For me, I'm still going to go with my original prediction at 9-7. Now, I think 9-7 is good enough for the Raiders to make the playoffs, and I've already put money down on BetDSI that the Oakland Raiders will make the playoffs. But the other thing about the NFL is I like making money, and you guys can make money with this promo deal. So BetDSI is the internet's #1 sports book. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, you use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. I can also get you a free shirt from Raider Nation store, and also Howie Long. This is a Howie Long shirt. If you want one, my man, you hit me up on IG at Mitchell Renz 365. Let's get in now to my top 6 players, my 6-pack. You guys know I like to crack these open. It's Josh Norman. So Josh Norman was actually my #1 cornerback a week ago. However, he's not my #1 cornerback anymore. I do believe that the Redskins should sell their valuable assets. The issue with Josh Norman, and I do think he's a Raider. I think he kind of brings that swagger that I still want to see on the defensive side of the ball. But Josh is making a whole bunch of money and not really playing up to that level. But I still think that he would be a helpful asset because we need to figure out what's going on with LaMarcus Joyner, because maybe we need to put him back at free safety, because what's happening now, it ain't good. Another cornerback, Dre Kirkpatrick. So last week, I had Dre Kirkpatrick behind Josh. I'm going to bump him up because Dre Kirkpatrick has already voiced his frustration with the Bengals, and I actually think that Dre would be cheaper than a player like Josh Norman. So Dre Kirkpatrick said this has been the most frustrated he's ever been. Plus, when you look at Kirkpatrick's best years, it's in the Paul Guenther system. He knows the system. We need a player that needs to come in right away and get things done. Maybe we go out and get Dre Kirkpatrick. Another Bengal, Carlos Dunlap. And I am a big advocate of what I think Carlos Dunlap could bring to this team. The Bengals are 0-8 and should be selling their assets. But the reason why I really want a player like Carlos Dunlap is because one of the reasons why Vontaze Burfict's loss is so big to this defense is because Dunlap can be out there and teach some of our younger edge rushers like Max Crosby how to really get after the quarterback a little bit more. So Dunlap isn't having, I think, the year that we've seen him have in the past. 22 tackles, 1 sack, 5 QB hits. But if there's one thing I know about Dunlap, he's going to at least give you his effort all the time, and it's one of the reasons why I want the Raiders to go out and get Carlos Dunlap. If edge rusher is still a big need for us, we can still, I think, go out and find a player who knows the Paul Guenther system, who fills a major need, and yes, he is getting up there in age, but even that being said, you want to go out, you want to make the playoffs, you want to find a player that can play right away for us, go out and get a player like Carlos Dunlap. So Halloween is right around the corner. So I want you guys to please comment, what are you going to be for Halloween? I want you to throw it in the comments section. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, let me know what you guys are going to be for Halloween. Now, if you want to see what I'm going to be for Halloween, you'll see it here in just a second. But I saw this picture that somebody said they're going to be a clown for Halloween, and then they took it next to my Raiders report. So I said, if you guys post a picture and send it to me on IG at Mitchell Renz 365 of you watching the Raiders report, do it. And I'm going to put the cherry on top and say, wear some crazy outlandish Raiders costumes, watch the Raiders report, send it to me, I'll put it on my show. So here's what I think I have to be for Halloween, right? Throw your FABs in the comments section. This is amazing. If this is a real-life costume, jobless NFL wide receiver, I'm about to order this bad boy stat. I am going to look for this costume, and if I can find it, I am going to do a freaking show wearing this thing. I think this is absolutely hilarious. So I need you to do it. Do it, please. Send me pics of you and your Raiders Halloween costumes on my Instagram, at Mitchell Renz 365. I want to be able to put them on the show. I want to be able to share all the best ones. I've had a few people send me a bunch of clown stuff with Antonio Brown. Send them to me, at Mitchell Renz 365. You ready to get into my top 3? I know I am. Logan Ryan. Please, can we get Logan Ryan? So there is a report that the Titans have been shopping Logan Ryan. I don't know how realistic that report is, I'll say that, but Logan Ryan I think would be a perfect fit for what the Oakland Raiders need. He is an elite slot corner. You can put Logan Ryan in what we're trying to do with LaMarcus Joyner, and then maybe we can move LaMarcus Joyner back to free safety. That way he can actually earn the $10 million a year we're giving him. Now, Logan is a 28-year-old player who will be a free agent in 2020. I don't necessarily think the Titans would be, to be honest, dumb enough to give up Logan. But if we can go out and get Logan Ryan, I'll tell you what, I actually think it'd be a perfect fit for what this team needs on defense. Now, the next player, another cornerback, it's Darius Slay. So there was a report that came out yesterday. We also talked about it on Chat Sports. Go check it out, youtube.com/chatsportstv, that Darius Slay could be traded. And that cornerback needy teams have been very interested. Well, I do know that the Raiders, in fact, are a cornerback needy team. Now, Slay has been dealing with a hamstring injury the entire season. But this is something that Darius Slay said. Nobody is safe, in my opinion. He was talking about trades. He's talking about trade talk. And I know there's been a bunch of Lions players that have been upset with some of the things that have been happening in Detroit. Just maybe we can go out, slay the day, and get Darius. Bad joke? Throw it in the comments. Now, I want to give a special shout out, though, to BetDSI. They're always slaying it here. And at chatsports.com/bet, y'all can bet on the Raiders every single week. If you don't bet on the Raiders, I don't really know if you actually bleed silver and black. Like, straight up, there is nothing I like more than being able to come into work and then talk about the Raiders, but then also know, oh shit, the Raiders, they covered the spread last week up against the Texans. I got a little more money in my pocket. Sure, they didn't win, but guess what? I got my creative juices flowing this morning thanks to BetDSI. So go to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code, 120% deposit bonus. And if you want a Howie Long t-shirt for watching the video, get started with BetDSI. My number one player, Yannick Ngakoue. So there is a report that the Jags, well, they placed him on the trade block, and he's going to be a free agent in 2020. So there was a radio host, Dan Sileo, who sometimes can put out some Sileo stuff. I'm just going to be honest with you. But he said that he's on the trade block. Now, Ngakoue, though, I kind of think he's going to be the odd man out in terms of like what the Jags could do. So he's tied with 11 in sacks, 31.5 since entering the league in 2016. He's a Pro Bowl caliber type of player. But the reason why I think that the Raiders went out and made a trade for a trade of the way, a player like Garyon Conley, is because now you could see that potentially getting a player like Yannick, who's been very productive since coming into the league in 2016. The Raiders have 3 third-round picks. I still think you can get any of the players that I listed in this entire video without giving up a first-round pick. The draft's in Vegas. I want to go to that draft in Vegas. And I honestly believe with 3 third-round picks, anything is possible, like also getting a player like Yannick Ngakoue. So today's video is 10 defensive players that the Oakland Raiders could target in a trade, or heck, should target in a trade before the NFL draft deadline on October 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So here's my list 10 through 6. Then we'll get in now to my list 5 through 1. If y'all don't like my top 10 trade targets, yell at me on Instagram, on Twitter, in the comments section. If you have a Pinterest, I don't have one, go ahead, yell at me there. I do not care. I love making these videos, and I love when you guys tell me your honest opinion. That's what makes Raider Nation special. So, here are my top 10 Raiders trade targets. From 5 to 1, I got Dre Kirkpatrick, Dunlap, Logan Ryan, Darius Slay, and my number one player that I want the Raiders to go after is Yannick Ngakoue. So if y'all are going to Raiders versus Lions, or heck, if you live in the area, let's meet up. If you are a loyal subscriber of the Oakland Raiders Report at youtube.com/Raiders Report, I'm going to be at Ricky's Sports Theater and Grill Saturday, November 2nd at 8 p.m. And if you show me that you subscribe, the first round is on me. Or maybe Ricky will hook us up with some extra drinks too. They're making some drinks. The one drink they might make is called a Chucky Head. And if y'all subscribe, I'm getting 4 Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Now, if you watched the video this far, I appreciate y'all. You bleed silver and black. But if you haven't subscribed to the Raiders Report, the most watched Raiders channel on YouTube, click this button right over here. And I'm doing pretty well, right? And if you like, okay, I like these videos a lot, why don't you check out this video over here and check out this video over here. Make sure you guys subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report. Raider Nation, I love you. That one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby.